L7. It's the deal. That was complete. Hitting this up from Facebook. Me and L7 was having a little exchange in the comment section. But did you do the knowledge to did you do the knowledge to the question that I asked you about? Let me put that in the all right, Mark T, SW, Divine Truth, Allah True, Wise You, Kendall Rowland. Everybody do the each one teach one, of course. And everyone do the each one teach one. Hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and share this out on your other pages, your Facebook groups, Twitter, Instagram, etc., etc. Uh, we have to have our own random Jews alert system. Christopher Gooden, you still there, L7? I'm about to put a link. Hold on, I'm about to put the link in here right now to see. But I put the link in the community tab. Let me put it in the comment section here. I moving so slow today? Guess that's the way a cookie crumbles. All right, that link right there. Can everybody see that link? Kendall Rowland, BCR. Can everybody see that link right there? Has anybody clicked on the link yet? Hold on, let me cause y'all know I'm Hotep now. So I still have to share. Can everyone see that right there? Did anyone hear about this right here? This phenomenon that I have on the screen right here? Anyone? Anyone? It says here the 1968 pandemic was caused by an influenza A H3N2 virus comprised of two genes from an avian influenza A virus, including a new H3 hemagglutinin, but also contained the NT neuraminidase from the 1957 H2N2 virus. It was first noted in the United States in September 1968. The estimated number of deaths was 1 million worldwide and about 100,000 in the United States. Most excess deaths were in people 65 years and older. The H3N3 virus continues to circulate worldwide as a seasonal influenza A virus. Seasonal H3N2 viruses, which are associated with severe illness in older people, undergo regular antigenic drift. Did everyone catch that? Krampus and Saturnalian origins of Christmas. Christmas actually has a lot of origins. You uh, you know, the American Christmas, shall we say, or I should say. So Kendall Rowland, you saying when you deal with when you deal with American Christmas, there's a lot of different traditions from different, European countries, ethnicities, et cetera, that all culminated in the American Christmas that we have right now, which is really, uh, uh, which is really uh, a Hollywood invention. All right, love. In fact, yo, love, I got something for you too on Friday. Really, uh, you might want to see me before Friday. Just real quick. My voice cut off. When did it cut off? You said, why and what do those Euro stories have to do with their Christmas without confusing them? Now you just got different people. You know what I'm saying? Like Saint Nicholas is not the same as Sinterklaas. Sinterklaas uh, is from Germany. You know what I'm saying? Like there was different traditions of men who were generous. You know what I'm saying? The winter solstice. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of different traditions that came together to uh, to form the modern idea of Christmas that we have. Hold on one second, y'all. But did anyone hear about the phenomenon that I first read about, this 1968 to 1969 pandemic? Anyone? Anyone? So you heard about it before VCR, right? But now see exactly SW, right? How does that adjust everyone's understanding of what's going on right now? See now, look, VCR. So you said you're going to ask your elders about it. Your elders is not really going to remember it. See, here's the thing. See, some of this, right, is because people is a little bit softer today. Like back in the days, people was used to people dying. See, especially when you're dealing with the younger generation that, you know, y'all stop being allowed to play, you know, where, like the merry-go-round, the monkey bars, the seesaw, all of this stuff was taken off the playground because you might get hurt. When I was growing up, breaking bones, that was just a part of growing up. getting hurt, getting, cut over the eye. All of that was just a part of growing up. This wasn't something that, now we have to reform the whole school system, because somebody sprained their ankle on the playground. So think about it. In 1969, they had Woodstock back in the days. In 1969, they was packing concerts, all over the world. The rock and roll generation was doing their thing. See, so some of it is that we got these people that's constantly on the news. You know what I'm saying? Telling you, yo, listen, man, this right here, man, yo, look, this is dangerous, yo, this, so it's inducing panic in you. It's inducing panic in all the people because of how much they telling you about it. You see what I mean? Like right now, right? This, check this out. America has been at war for 20 years now. But ain't nobody really concerned about it. Ain't nobody thinking, yo, a bomb might come flying, through the window any day now. You're not thinking about that because they not constantly pumping it to you. You know, now 15, 20 years ago, they was constantly pumping that. Remember, we'd wake up, yo, it's cold orange today. It's cold yellow now. But over there is cold red. You know, all these different codes. So the people is constantly aware of it. But I'm just saying, in terms of, remember what I've been saying the whole time is that, listen, man, the history, right, of the colored man in germs is a long history. Like, the idea, what I'm illustrating, right, is that the idea that this just came out of nowhere is, to me, you don't want to, you don't want to fall for everything they saying, but then you don't want to become so suspicious, right, that you ignore the truth because you don't like who it's coming from. See, that's another danger. There's been lots of things. You know what I'm saying? But just the how hype they get you, yo, it's Illuminati coming to get all of us. You know, that's also a part of getting caught up in the media too. You know, it's like a double entendre. You see what I'm saying? And in the game of chess, when you do a type of move where, listen, you know, all you could do is try to save as much as you can. But no matter what you do, I'm taking a piece. Yeah. Now, what Love is saying, it's a tool for the devil to plant fear and feed the wrong foods. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, uh, how they choose to use it, you know, like some can happen. It don't mean they caused it, but they could take advantage of it. Like for instance, in medieval times, right? I seen somebody earlier saying about plagues that they had in medieval times. You know what they did during plagues in medieval times? Or one of the things that they did, one of the ways that they used the plague to their advantage. Complete said his aunt died before he was born, or the Spanish flu? I mean, I would think so. The Spanish flu was like 1915 or something. I would, I would think that's a little bit before your time. Oh yeah, the poll is at 91% now. 91% not taking it. 9% is taking the vaccine. I wish somebody is anybody on, one of the 9%, or is that like just trolls or something? Is any of the 9% that's planning on taking the vaccine? Are you on? Can you come on and add on with us? Trying to catch back up with y'all. Hmm, that's interesting. Mr. Greenwood said the four greatest plagues are approximately 100 years apart: 1720, 1820, 1920, 2020. Hmm. Which nurse you talking about, VCR? So these four plagues is the Great Plague of Marseille, 1720, 1723, Spanish flu, 1918 and 1920, the first cholera pandemic, 1817 and 1824, and of course this one right here. Conflicting stories that who's still alive, VCR? Well, what's H1N1? I see, man. Yeah, the wordsmith is once he had that vacation, he's come back super strong. Oh, the one that fainted on TV. Ah, man. See now, yeah. I'm not even gonna touch that one, VCR. these type of things where, people is real and everybody's crisis actors and all of this stuff, you know. Uh, yeah, that's a great point right there, SW. Is that people complain about the mainstream media, but listen, man. Listen, man. You know, uh, any of y'all seen Ma Rainey's Black Bottom? I don't think we want to see Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. There's a Hotep channel. Seen the show Utopia. But yeah, these types of stuff where they talking about, people disappeared and, this person is a crisis actor and all of that, eventually we get to the point, right? For me, you know what I'm saying? And maybe this is my religious aspect, right? But I need, like how they say, people ascribe certain things to religion, et cetera, et cetera. You know what I'm saying? For peace of mind. You know what I'm saying? Because the world seems too chaotic, without thinking that there's some kind of benevolent hand guiding everything and that eventually everything is going to work out. See, the world where everything is fake and everybody's crisis actors, that world is too chaotic for me. Like in that world, my mathematics don't work because what I think is knowledge is not knowledge. What I think is wisdom is not wisdom. Everything that I see is not real. You see what I'm saying? So, I don't even know what to measure things against because you got to remember this the world I've been living in the entire time. Meaning, we could go back to the Kennedy assassination. Nah, that wasn't really Kennedy. That was somebody else. And Kennedy's alive on some island with Tupac and Elvis. You know what I'm saying? You know, uh, you know, this guy shot Martin Luther King. Nah, it wasn't that guy. It was another guy. You know, something else happened. This is the world that. So, in order for me to make sense of the world, with anything, just like in order for you to make up your bed, for you to clean up your room. Once you make up the bed, it's like, okay, that's settled. That's all right. I know that part is established. You understand what I'm saying? In order for me to get to the rest of the room. So in order for me to look at the whole of reality, I've got to make some decisions, right, on what I'm weighing and judging. And if everything I weigh and judge, I go back and know that was just a movie. That was just a part of a movie script. You know what I'm saying? Then I can't make sense of the world. So these things could be true. Maybe everybody's a crisis actor. You know, every mass shooting we've seen. Everything. You know what I'm saying? But I can't exist in that world. You know what I'm saying? Where we read something in a book, but it's not true because this, that, and how do you know this? Like, look, like if you want me to take a ruler and measure the distance between here and Mercury, so that you could be, you know, somewhere down the line, we got to realize it's only but 24 hours in a day. So if we spend all that time, uh, having to reinvent the wheel, does the colored man think he'll achieve victory by using diseases as weapons, though? Listen, that's what I was getting ready to say in terms of, from back then, right? One of the things that they started doing when the plague and all that was coming out in the medieval times is that they would take the dead people, right? The people who was dying, who had died from the plague, right? And they would shoot them over the walls of the enemies. So that was, uh, you know, at least one of the first, uh, you know, germ warfares, biological warfares. So just because you see somebody taking advantage of something, that don't mean that they caused it to happen. The Utopia show deals with what I'm speaking on. Well, I've spoken a lot, so I'm not really sure. Yeah, pause, Black Bottom. Black Bottom, what you talking about? Smoked out. This is Chadwick Boseman's last movie. I thought y'all was saying something else. I was about to tell y'all this is a Hotep channel. Uh, but so what they talking about? Black Bottom. They talking about Detroit. Like, isn't that the part of Detroit where Hotep? Isn't that the part of Detroit where Elijah Muhammad was from? Where what's his name? WF Muhammad started teaching. Right. The Mongolians did use that tactic. They was one of the peoples that used that tactic. Complete God of luck. 1930s. Oh, 1930s Chicago. That's what Black Bottom is about. Yeah, right, born the first thing, because, you know, uh, whenever we get a major event that happens in society, uh, it gets a little, the conspiracy theories kind of run wild. You know what I'm saying? And, just like on your channel, that's kind of one of the themes of your channel is that the conspiracy theories, and, all these different theories, they run wild when the actual history is not known. All right, so it's set in 1927 Chicago. All right, I gotta check it out. Who, like, is it based on a book? Who's the director? Like, who's the people behind it? Based on a play by August Wilson. Right, that's what I'm saying. It was 5G. You know what I'm saying? All these different things. Uh, it's okay to do the knowledge. It's okay to just say, we don't have enough information here, right, to make a a solid conclusion. Right, born love Allah supreme. That's what I'm saying. I can't live in that world. You know what I'm saying? Like, even, Rabborn bringing me on, Rabborn coming on reminds me of that, you know, uh, you know, uh, like when people come and say, look, the transatlantic trade is all a hoax. All right, then you got to tell me what's real then. Like, yeah, exactly, Rabborn. Everybody's a clone, crisis actors, you know. Mathematics can't work in that way. It can't work. Just like when you do a problem, you know what I'm saying? Like you multiplying 25 times 25. See, once you multiply the 5 times the 25 and you get 125, okay, that can't change now. Now I can't go back and find out. You know what? Remember in first grade when the teacher told you that uh you know 5 times 5 is 25 and you carry the 2 and then the 5 and the 2 is 10 and then the 2 that you carry is 12. Yeah, she was really a crisis actor, and that's not really the truth. So then now it's like, okay, so wait a minute, what about all this money that I've been spending, based on that mathematics all the time? You saying now that's not right? You know what I'm saying? That how do you live your life with everything being fake? You know what I'm saying? And if everything is fake, how come the consequences is always real? So I'm not saying that things is not true. I'm not saying that conspiracies don't exist, but if it exists, it's going to be a string. It's going to be a common string that runs through it. But these vast conspiracies, with 1 million people involved and all that. Listen, man, you know, we could see from, and everybody hasn't been involved in that world, but certainly you've seen it from the outside looking in. You've seen from the crime world that you can't have 10, 15 people that's involved with a conspiracy and nobody don't crack under pressure. We're not gonna have no, you know what I'm saying? Like, listen, the I seen Rob Warner did a video on the Underground Railroad. The Underground Railroad was, that was a conspiracy. But we know what it is. You're not gonna have that many people involved, and nobody knows what's going on. So I that's why I say sometimes you know these things they get a little too involved for me, man. Where I'm like, look, let me just stick with whatever the conventional wisdom looks like until something tells me that it's really outside of that. But we could tackle that. We could tackle today, Rob Boy. Let us tackle the Asiatic question. Yeah, 9/11. I'm not saying, and look, some things, even just as a conspiracy, right? Like, it could be a conspiracy in the projects over there. Dudes is over there doing something. That don't mean everybody in the projects is down. Like, in fact, that's a good example of something where the conspiracy is in the people that don't live in the project's mind. Like, most of the time when you go into projects, the people in there don't get along. In most projects, is at least a situation where, look, there's this side and there's that side, the north side, the east side, the west side, whatever. And them sides don't really, we don't get along. We don't rock with them cats over there at all. But see, when you from outside the projects, yeah, all those the project dudes, they stick together. But it ain't really no conspiracy that big. It's just, the cats is standing in front of that building. Yeah, if you mess with them, they're gonna be together against you. But the dudes from the other side over there, they like, yeah, good for them. Never liked them no way. So a lot of times that's what I'm saying. The conspiracy, man, it grows in your mind. You know what I'm saying? It said holographic universe theory. I think it says it's the light that creates the picture or image or something like that. I mean, look, maybe that's the case. All I'm saying is that I'm a part of that picture. So for me, the picture is reality. The guy, you know what I'm saying? I like the world, Melissa Davis. I like the world, man, where we can kind of categorize things, we can know what things are, and we could draw up an understanding about them. You know what I'm saying? But some of this Illuminati, Masonic stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like some of the new brothers that just came in, you gotta understand my uh the way I look at masonry and all that type of stuff is that the power of it is that it's secret. Like whatever we doing, like right now, right? You know, one of the the keys, right, to a team, like one of the keys to Bill Belichick doing what he's doing is that the other team don't know our play. Like if the other team get our whole playbook, you know what I'm saying, and they know, all our plays, they know all our sets, they know, yo, when we say this, we know they know what we mean. Then that's going to reduce the effectiveness of what they're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? Of whatever plan that they make. A lot of that Illuminati, Masonic stuff, that's about them, man. That don't even got anything to do with us. That's about the power in Europe being controlled by the Catholic Church and the monarchs, the kings and the queens. And so these secret societies of other people who wanted to increase their power, right, but couldn't do it because they didn't, have enough control over armies, etc., etc. And so these is conspiracies to take over power in Europe. Even if you're dealing with George Washington and being over here, that's still a conspiracy that's launched between the founding fathers to take over the colonial power from European nations. But a lot of that stuff, man, don't get too caught up in that, man. You know what I found about the news, Wordsmith, right? This is what I found about the news. You gotta watch the news in real time. When I learned that lesson was on 9/11, because as you watching it in real time, there'll be a report. You know what I'm saying? And they might be making that announcement, yo, this thing right here, this just happened. You know what I'm saying? But then when you notice like an hour later, they're not reporting that no more. They're not reporting that that happened. Now, I'm not saying that just because they reported something in real time and they stopped, that mean that that thing was true. But what I'm saying is that you getting all of the information though, at least. You know what I'm saying? You getting all of the information, so then you have a better opportunity to decide what you think is right and what you think is wrong. You understand what I'm saying? If you just listen to the first frantic things that people are saying when they don't really know the big picture, you're gonna be lost. And if you only listen to the final polished up version, you know what I'm saying, after they had a chance to, you know, tuck in all the corners, you're gonna be able to. So I'd rather just get all the reports, and then I could decide which ones, you know what I'm saying, I could see what I think is true. He said, you know what I've learned, that Allah is omnipresent. Does that sound religious? I mean, it depends on what you mean by that. Do you mean that? Do you mean that in a religious sense? Is that what you're? I mean, look, you said as in social equality. I'm not sure what that means. Look, if you're saying that the black man is seen and heard everywhere, then yeah, I see what you're saying. But if you talk about in the sense of, there's some unseen being that's here in the room with me right now, then nah, I don't see what you're saying. See, a lot of all that other stuff, I don't really, not real keen on that stuff, man. You want to get too caught up over there, over the deep end, man. Social equality doesn't make a man God. I have social equality with religious folks Two, I don't advocate religion at all, but there's a common ground when they leave that out of resolutions discussions. Is the black man omnipresent in some of these meetings with white people choosing to do the highest form of devilishment? Yeah, exactly. You start to, you know, and see, like I said, these are things that we carry with us that you don't even realize it. Like, I give you an example. Uh, when my grandfather passed away, right? My grandfather returned to the essence. So we go down south to the funeral, right? And there comes a moment in the service where the preacher says, "Look, everybody, you know, grab hands with the person next to you and sing this religious song right here, right?" Now, that religious training happened at such a fundamental stage in my development, right? That when he said that, I fell right in. Like, I still recall the song and everything, right? But my sons was there with me, and they was looking around like, "What's this? What's going on? What is he talking about?" Because they had no concept of what they was talking about. See, sometimes we carry these ideas and these concepts, right, of religion still with us. You know what I'm saying? And we bring them into the knowledge, and then we try to draw it up with mathematics. And you might be able to draw it up to the good equality, maybe, but you ain't never gonna get above six with that. But you said, wouldn't the inanimate object still hold the energy or vibration from that in which who built it, making he or her still present? I mean, I see what you're saying, but God of the doorknob and all of this stuff right here, the spirits, the spirit of the plaster, these things, and I'm not saying, we got to understand, see, and this is another thing. This is a whole video. We're going to get into this in another video. You know what I'm saying? But, look, you got energy and you got matter, right? The four fundamental forms of energy you got is electromagnetic, gravity, strong nuclear force, weak nuclear force, right? And you got atoms. You know what I'm saying? That's the matter. Now, those forces and that matter combine together in myriad ways. You know what I'm saying? And life is one of them. Life, and what this is what I'm saying now, right? Life is the highest of all those myriad ways that those forces combine with the matter, right, to form the reality that's around us. You know what I'm saying? And of that life, you know, the black man is the highest of all the living beings, the highest form. You know what I'm saying? Now, this is where a lot of people, they don't understand what we're saying, because most other people, they identify mostly with just the matter, the substance of life, should I say, meaning the physical body. But see, us with the science that we study, right? We take our existence all the way back to the fundamental elements of energy and matter in the universe. You understand what I'm saying? In existence, in reality, however you wanna, we could go in and brush up the terms. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, these other things, whether it's a doorknob, whether it's a can of soda, you know, also have an origin in those fundamental aspects, you know what I'm saying, of energy and matter. However, those things are not the black man. You understand what I'm saying? If we get to a level of misunderstanding that, right, then we will start worshiping idols. You know what I mean? Some of this type of idea, when you talk about the inanimate objects with the energy and the vibrations and all of this, you know, we get into the idol worship, the beads and this kind of stuff, crosses, you know, all of that operates on that same principle. I'm saying, not saying that's what you're saying. I'm just saying that all those things operate on that same principle. See, let me tell you another thing about these conspiracies you need to be aware of. And this is another thing you could tell from, you know, just, and like I said, it's not everybody's life, but if you ever heard about it, if you ever been around it, right, with these conspiracies. See, anybody who could tell you the whole conspiracy, how it went down, they in it. Like there's just some things, you can tell me you read it out the Akashic records or whatever, but listen, man, if you know everything what happened in the conspiracy, you's down. I don't care how much you think you figured over here, you figured over here with all the finest expertise, all of the cameras, et cetera, et cetera. So I know y'all ain't telling me that y'all was down. That would be power born, calm is lovely. Well, they got to go from thing to thing. You know what I'm saying? See, another thing what I seen is that these stories, right? And I first started noticing this in the OJ trial, but that's not the beginning of it. Like it was going on before that, but definitely in the modern era, starting with the OJ trial, right? These stories make stars of people that used to be on the news back in the days. You do Channel 11 news for 30, 40 years, and then you retire, and you know the only people that recall you is people who was in that local area. But now the person who's on the scene, you Don Lemon, and you're out on the scene in this place or that place, like that could make you a star. You didn't know all the people on the news like that back in the days. So, the story, whatever story that's sexy like that, that's gonna be able to elevate somebody, you're gonna get that big contract, like a superstar. That's what you're gonna see covered on the news right now. That's a great question. That's a great question. Uh Asiatic mathematics. It does appear that the terrorists are afraid of contracting the virus there. It kind of fell off a cliff. They had some events over in Europe. You know what I'm saying? We don't want to totally uh, discount that there was some people that felt some pain. Um, and then I guess you do have to add in, recently you've had this. They're talking about this big hack of the government computers or whatever. But there was a lot of things that appear to be put on hold. I don't know. Maybe the terrorists is on lockdown. Maybe they got special orders. Shaquem, right? That's another thing. You know, a lot of people would talk about, how, uh, with the coronavirus, but you right about that. Is that it's almost Asiatic mathematics is almost as if you know people expect people to live forever. Under any circumstance. Like, it's people that I've seen people that's like in their 80s pass away. And they like, yo, this is a conspiracy. They killed this person. And, maybe it was that the person was 80, man. You know what I'm saying? A person could be, involved with things that we know is dangerous. You know what I'm saying? It's detrimental to your health. And they'll still say, it's a conspiracy. A person can, get on, you know, YouTube, Facebook, and all this stuff, which at the end of the day is international media. Like if you go on the news, right, some of that's just local in the area. Or you might be on the national news. But when you talk about the internet, they get that in the space station out of space. So you get on the intergalactic internet, broadcast the crimes that you're doing. But then when you get arrested, it's a conspiracy. You know, some of these things that I'm just saying. Well, that's the way I make sense of the world around me. You know what I mean? Oh man, see, that's what I'm saying, man. You said you feel like the stimulus is set up for those who was getting money. Feels like they're about to round up more people scamming. You said they heard the government giving people PS5. Man, well, how much is PS5? It's supposed to be uh $600. It's supposed to be $600 this time. So I don't know how much PS5 is, but if it's $600, count it. I mean, Kindle rolling. That's a. Yeah, but every individual gets $600. If you got dependents, you get $600 for the ones that's under 18. I think they're gonna have to give people the universal basic income soon. Think that's coming down the pipe. What you think about that? The universal basic income. We got Rob Bourne in the background. I'm gonna bring Rob Bourne in a minute. Oh, Trump said he's not signing it unless they give everybody 2,000. Look like Trump is campaigning for 2024. Hey, listen, you giving out 2,000. Hey, look, I think they need to check them votes. I think you giving out. Wait a minute, you giving out 2,000? I think they need to run the votes back. They need to run the votes back in Pennsylvania and Michigan. You better pay attention to what side of the bread you better pay attention to who's buttering your bread. You know what side. Man, listen. Jigga 1017. I seen Jigga 1017 on oh yeah, the brother, what's his name? Something Kareem Johnson. Kareem Johnson been what's his name? Cameron Maxwell. Is that the brother from Jersey that came to the class? Yeah, Kareem Johnson. He's been making the rounds. You know, like some of the stuff he said, but some of the stuff he said, I was like, I don't know, I ain't never heard that before. All right, what's going on with you, Kareem? But let's bring Rabon on. We're gonna have some discussion on uh the term Asiatic, you know what I'm saying, and how it applies to the whole big picture. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of things that we manifest, you know what I'm saying, in any family, in any group, you know what I'm saying? A lot of things we manifest, these is our terms that we understand, right, according to our definition. You know what I'm saying? But when we go amongst other people, right, in order to identify what we mean by that, you know what I mean? We got to be able to communicate that to them in a way that they understand. You know what I'm saying? So, for instance, if you were saying, if they asked you, okay, well, who was the Asiatic black man in, uh, you know, 500 BC? You know what I mean? You got to be able to point and say, all right, this is the group of people right here. You know, this is who those group of people was at that time. You know what I'm saying? Just like if they say, who was the black people in America in 1802. You know what I'm saying? You would say, well, those was the enslaved people at that time. You understand what I'm saying? So, coming out of our world, and into just the world of common history. You know what I mean? Because see, that's something that the lessons tell us too. When you deal with the wisdom degree, and it tells you that it's some things that is dealing with the Asiatic world. You know what I'm saying? 2000, that's dealing with the Christian world. You know what I'm saying? Telling you, you know, Anno Domini. You know what I'm saying? In the year of our Lord, that Lord being Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying? So, with that said, we're gonna
What happened, God? Your shit just muted out.
peace. Oh yeah, now I was in the you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, just come in real quick. I'm gonna be right back.
Yeah, man. Peace to the chat. Peace to everybody in the building. Yeah, when the God come back, then so this is a question that I get tired of being asked because when you have this conversation with um people who are majority of the people who are outside of this, they're like, "What the hell you talking about? You Asiatic? What do you mean by that?" And then every God will have his own understanding. Some people keep it old school. Asia is the body, Attic is the mind. Asu means the land of the rising sun, and then you're gonna run across people who really know this, and they know like the continents. So you're gonna be our lessons talk about is genetics, and specifically population genetics. And when you deal with population genetics, you are now looking at the migrations of people. So you're going to be forced to deal with the out of Africa theory. You know, you have one out of Africa one, and you have out of Africa two. And out of Africa one is what you would call hominids. They humans, but they not like us. They are part of the human race, but they not. This is happening millions of years of them going out. The second part, which is the part that deals with us, is this thing that happens from 50 to 70,000 years ago. And then you have back migrations, etc., and all these things going down the line. The point is, all archaeology, all science points to the Rift Valley, the origin of humankind. Right now, something else comes out. You know, all of these names that's designated to these places, and they in Africa, and they name it according to them. Like the Yoruba people might call their land Ife. You know, the people in Egypt might call their land Kemet, but that's neither here nor there. So I'm gonna share my screen. Let me grab this real quick. You can hear me?
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna grab something real quick. Hold on. Let me know if my screen is sharing.
Yeah.
You sharing? You ever heard of the Hermetic hypothesis?
I can't think of it off the top of my head.
All right, so this right here is the origin of our identity crisis. This right here, I'm gonna blow this up real big, is the origin of.
Hermetic. I thought you were saying hermetic.
Oh no. Hermetic. HAM. Ham.
Yeah.
Hermetic hypothesis, right? So I'm gonna go through not all of this, but you're gonna see how this ties in. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm putting this identity crisis all on Abrahamic faiths. The Abrahamic faiths are dealing with Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. This right here is the origin of our issues as far as identity when this come amongst the people. So see what this is titled, the Hermetic Hypothesis in Indigenous West African Historical Thought. So I'm picking them because this is where most of us generally come from. Now, when you deal with this Hermetic hypothesis, I'll get this in a second. It'll tell you that the concept of the Hermetic hypothesis appears to have been coined by the historian Saint Clair Drake. So this is just the name of it, but it predates that. That's just a name given to what I'm about to go into. And in 1959, in the historiography of Africa, it has conveniently been employed as a label for the view that important elements in the cultures of sub-Saharan Africa and more especially elaborated state structures were the creation of people called Hamites, who were presumed to be immigrants, invaders from outside, often specifically from Egypt or the Nile Valley. And keyword, racially Caucasian or white, who conquered the indigenous Black African populations. One of the most influential proponents of this interpretation was C.G. Selgum in a book originally published in 1930, which will be pitted down. Now, not to go into this, but this is dealing with the Europeans before they deciphered the hieroglyphs. They were basically saying the Egyptians were white, and that anybody else that had civilization, it came from them. So this is called the diffusionist part, where you saying that Black cultures can't develop on their own without an outside force. But key word here is the word Ham. This is dealing with the Bible and the mythical characters of Noah, Ham, and Shem and Canaan. Those people don't exist. They not real. Number one. So the principle of history and how it's recorded is dealing with that Bible. I just want to lay that down off the jump. So now, when we get to this Asiatic thing, right, you're going to see this right here. Watch this. It says, although the overt racism of the Hermetic hypothesis were repudiated by the academic historiography of Africa, which developed in the 1950s. So in the 1950s, they got rid of this, right? However, when you deal with West Africa and the Sahel, with the conquest of the indigenous black agricultural peoples, again, Saharan, white, pastoralists, the military superiority of the later being now attributed to their possession. So I'm going to scroll down. I hope this is underlined on this because this is not on my thing. Okay. When you deal with the Hermetic hypothesis and dealing with Islam and West Africa, this is where the problem comes into play. These new rulers who come into play change the historical record. And what I mean by that is Africa didn't have a lot of writing until Arabic got there. Once they adopted Arabic, the people who were the rulers began to write their history. Some of these people, the Fulad tribe, etc., were getting funded from the Ottoman Empire in the East. So those specific people were performing jihads in West Africa on people who did not want to accept Islam. So at the same time in West Africa, you have us fighting the Europeans, you have this going on. But Islam enters there around the 8th century, and it starts as a trading religion. So the Arabs can't trade with nobody unless you accept Islam. So they accepted it. Now, as time goes on, this is what happens. Moreover, the Hermetic hypothesis as applied to Africa has seemed as a merely or local event, more general of the historical process. Diffusionism, according to which autonomous cultural innovation was a rare occasion. So frequently they will say it came from Egypt. They'll say it come from Israel. Thus you have your Israelites, and then you have your Islam, right? So right here, Frobenius attributed the origins of political institution in West Africa until he generally described him essentially on the basis of Nubi and northern Nigeria to a migration from Nubia. You'll see that. You'll see Yoruba. You'll also see saying that Yoruba came from Atlantis. You see this right here. Everything to take away our history. But now we got to get deep into this part right here, and I'm going to wrap this up on this point. It says versions of the Hermetic hypothesis occur in early local West African Islamic historiography, written in Arabic at a period earlier than the rise of the classicist European racialist version. So before the Europeans got there, the Arabs was here and they were writing this. This should be entirely unsurprising since West African Muslims took over the general Islamic and ultimately Old Testament historical framework of the peopling of the world by the dispersal of the descendants of Noah after the flood. Where does Noah come from, according to the Bible? Where does he come from? He don't come from Africa. So we're going to keep moving. The dominant tendency was to affiliate West African peoples to Ham through their sons of Cush or Canaan, although links were often also posed with other figures from Islamic Arabic historical tradition. A typical example of one can cite the historical work of the noted scholar and political leader Muhammad Bello. His written work in 1812 attributes Middle Eastern origins from Egypt, Palestine, and Yemen, and even Persia to a number of West African peoples, though for the most part without reference specifically to Ham or Noah. In this case of the Yoruba, however, he declares them the descendants of Canaan. There you have your Asiatic, right here from the land of Canaan, right here. And more particularly of his son Nimrod, who is traditionally linked with Babylon. He combines the conventional piece of speculative genealogy with an equally speculative venture in historical etymology, deriving the word Yoruba from Yaru, the legendary ancestor of the Hammurite king, Ingman, in pre-Islamic times. So I can keep going through this, but what I'm pointing at is the origin of this. They'll start to say that all of these places that we come from and great tribes or people have something to do with Islam. Right here, as early as the 12th century, the kings of Ghana were claiming descent from a man called Sila, who was represented to be a great-great-grandson of the Caliph Ali, the son-in-law and fourth successor of the Prophet Muhammad. How is this possible when this culture here predates Islam? Let me keep moving. You can see this with the Zawa. You can see this with they start saying we come from Yemen. And you start seeing all these things, and a lot of this gets wrapped up with Canaan and all this other stuff, right? But I'm going to wrap this up at this point because I had to start here for a reason, because I wanted to just get straight to the point. But this is what the scholars say today. The more general views nowadays, however, at least among academic historians, is that these traditions of migration from the Middle East are to be explained by the expansion of the influence of Islam and sub-Saharan Africans in relatively recent times. So you might see some of Wesley Muhammad work, and when you look at his sources, he actually quotes this paper, because this paper deals with the oral traditions that you see here, but he forgot to read you what the conclusion was. So I don't know why he did that, but to each his own. Here, you'll see up here where it'll say that Ottawa, this is supposed to be the person of in Yoruba land, is presented as the son of Larduma, a king of Mecca who renounced Islam, clashed with a pious Muslim called Brahma, and was killed in a Muslim uprising. Lamuda and Barama in the story evidently represented Nimrod and Abraham, and this story is based on the Islamic saga of the competition between two figures, Muhammad and Bello, as cited early. So I brought all this up to say this. When you look up the origin of Ghana and you look in the early records, when you get to the 16th century, they'll now switch the story and be like, yo, Ghana was founded by white people. And they all came from Asia. Thus, they're Canaan, they're Asiatics. This theology, or this whole thing right here, this is the birth of it. It starts in Africa and it comes to the Americas. So you'll have these individuals who join Freemasonry. And when they join this Freemasonry, it's still attached to the Bible. No Bible, no Freemasonry, right? So I point that out to say this, right? So now I'm in here. So I'm in this handbook. I'm gonna get to the Asiatic thing. We going. Let me get the page. I think it's on 22. I should have it outlined. I need to lay this down, man. All right, here we go. Let's blow this bad boy up. See this? During the late part of the 18th century, a new form of masonry appeared, which to the extent was a reaction against the Alcasas and the Templar rites. These two rites right here, first and foremost, Freemasonry comes from the Catholics. And what I mean by that, it comes from guilds. And guilds are organizations that are skilled in specific work. So this also comes out the Crusade, where you have the Order of Christ, the Order of Albertar, and then they call them Grand Master, whatever. Right? So it says this form of masonry did not place the origins of the Order of Freemasonry with the medieval Crusades, but in ancient Egypt. That the origins of Freemason might be found in ancient Egypt was hinted at before Egyptian masonry as such appeared on the scene. For instance, in 1745, a publication, Lisa Rumpa, while Egyptian masonry never became a real threat to the predominance of the other forms of high-degree masonry, it remained on the fringes of conservative masonry. And it was put forth by this man, Karl Friedrich von Kappen, 1734-1797, who founded the Order of African Building Masters. This is a white man. In 1767, the order was based on a short text, right? But let's keep reading because there's something interesting that happens here. It says one of the most famous and charismatic inventors in the 18th century, among other things, he claimed to have been initiated at the pyramids in Egypt. Where did you hear this before? Where did you hear people talking about they went and got 96 degrees and they went to the temple of Mecca? That's, you heard me, temple of Medina, and they got the 96 degrees, and then they came to the Abdul Suleiman. This is your birth of Islam in America. Yes. This comes from, you call your black Shriners. Yes. They say they come from the Sudan and got these great degrees. Yes. But this is where it comes from. And that he possessed the knowledge to transmit base metals, all this other stuff. The dude even said that he lived for 2,000 years. This shit is straight. Yo. Now, it's not to say that the foundational roots of speculative and operative masonry come from Egypt. It's not to say that. The objective is to show how that shit even got there in the first place. And that's another story dealing with translation movements. So I say this to say this, right? When y'all heard me building about Dusay Muhammad, right? And you hear me talking about the Ahmadi Muslims, and you hear me talk about Marcus Garvey, who actually teacher is Dusay Muhammad, and he's running around with the fez on his head. He tells you why he's wearing the fez, because if you look exotic, you can move further in society. You are faced with a people through each generation from the 1800s are recreating themselves so that they can fight white supremacy. Thus, they actually are scientists. They're using psychology and they're making up stuff. And some of them know what they're doing, some of them don't. And that's just the truth of the matter. So when we get to this Asiatic, and this is the test I put out there. This is the root of the word. It's a Greek name right here. Asia, Latin spelling, translation, Asia. The first time you see this, anybody who could do it, I'll give you $100. Show me this word anywhere before this time. I'll put my cash app up and give you $100 right now. Let's get our scholar. Let's make scholarship fun. Herodotus Histories, Godfrey, 5th century BC. It's the first time you see this word. You don't see it nowhere. It's not amongst the black people where we come from. Don't got nothing to do. Asia was named after the wife of the Prometheus, yet the Lydians claim a share in the later name, saying that Asia was not named after Prometheus' wife, but after Asius, the son of Cartus, who was the son of Names, and that from him Asset clan at Sardis also takes his name. There's Asia right there. She's in the museum. Right here. Here she go. You don't believe me? You go look right here and you can find her. The term Asia was first applied by the ancient Greeks to the region of Anatolia, modern Turkey, rather than the entire continental mass. This is similar to European naming practices when they name only one part of Africa, which is North Africa or Libya, Africa, and then later on the shit takes over the whole continent. So we're dealing with these people's names. So what do we do at this point? Can we show and prove that the black man went to Asia? Can we show and prove that? Yeah, we can show and prove that. We have the DNA to do it. We have it. The objective is that really you, though? Are you the people who came 50,000 years ago, went into Asia, stayed there, had created more people with other homonyms that have been there before you, and then another 60,000 years, that's you? That's your culture? No, sorry, bro, that's not you. Is that related to you? Absolutely. Because we all have the same genes, but after you stay in a place for 50 or 60,000 years, you're different. You develop a different culture. you didn't have different babies, and then there's something called back migration, where people are going back to Africa, going to Asia, going to Greek, coming back to Greek. These genes are all getting mixed up, and now you having different mutations and different people coming onto the planet. When you deal with us, you dealing with the E haplogroup, right? But it's something called EM2. That's 32,000 years ago. That's who we are. I mean, so in order to break this down, we know that there's no European on the planet Earth 7,000 to 7,000 years ago. Ain't no European on the planet. They not here. That's a fact. So anything prior to that, the original man is here, but you got to take it to its root, the Rift Valley. You got to talk about out of Africa 1, and then out of Africa 2, and then break down these haplogroups from E to L and who you are. The name of this is knowledge of self. Who are you? Yes, we can say you are Pan-African. You can't claim every single thing, because these people did have an origin, but they developed their own culture. I mean, so when I say this, or when I'm saying this right here, I'm talking about the migration of the original man who came from this point to that point. And that's my relative, and that's our book of life. That's a part of our history. We was there. But, however, when you dealing directly with who you are, you now have to take into context what happened when the Abrahamic faiths entered the place where we've been thousands of years before it even existed. Now you have everybody talking about Noah, him, and that. Those ain't my ancestors. They don't exist. They not my ancestors. And that's my understanding behind it, G. So I don't know if you had your pen out, you want to go in on it. But yeah. I don't even know if my mic is still on. Yo.
Peace. Yeah, I know I took myself out the chat. But
Pick yourself up.
hold on for a second. Let me see. I put the link in there to see if anybody wants to come in and add their 5 cents on.
Somebody said this. Emphatically no, there's more history on the word Asia. Let's go for it, bro. Family, I've been doing that since I was a kid, bro. Whatever you come up with, if you want to say Asu, I'm going to pull out the Akkadian dictionary and I'm going to show you it don't come from there. You try to say the word Asuwa and it comes from the Kabbalah is brand new. I'm going to show you it don't come from there. I don't understand, like, why we can't look at history for what it actually is. If this is what our lessons are telling us to do. Like, yo, like, there's a way how Islam gets here. There's a person who's saying you are Asiatic. And then I'll show you in West Africa, in Ghana, and all these different places how this even starts. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Come with it, man. I want to see this empirical data that you have the word Asia before Herodotus. Please do that. That would be great for us. That would be new to me.
So no one wants to.
See, there we go. Without me even looking at the chat. Yo, the word Asu, what does that mean in Akkadian? Who has an Akkadian dictionary? Who has it? Who got an Akkadian dictionary? Guess who got one? I do. The word Asia is unknown origin, bro. Unknown. They don't know. And the first time we see that word is from Herodotus. No matter how mad you get and how upset you are, I'm going to tell you that we predate the term Asia And when you look at the tick at the end, you know a tick is a suffix, right? A tick is a suffix, and that suffix is European. We didn't talk like that before we learned English, bro. So now you specifically dealing with the word Asia. You know, yeah, Asia is a continent. Yeah, land of the rising sun. Good. Show us the Akkadian dictionary that says that. It means to go out or come forth. Some put sun to it, but that has nothing to do with the word Asiatic. Don't mean that. This is what you learned in 1990. This is what you was told in 1989. That's not true, bro. I'm sorry. It's not true. I know it hurts. I would stick to the history, the archaeology, and the science to show that the original man was in that area. And then look at those cultures and pick one. You just can't just label something and be like, yo, that okay, who were those people? Who are you talking about? What were they doing? What language did they speak? What culture did they practice? Yeah, man.
Anyone? Is there anyone? Y'all just gonna talk in the background?
How they say keep it simple, right? That's what
What
they
is
say,
the
right? This is what they say. They say keep it simple, right? They said that's what we like to say. So let's keep it simple. Let's have a point of reference. So I'm gonna share my screen right now. What does this say? It says Asia, 1300 Sarika, from Latin Asia, from Greek Asua, the same word I told you, speculated to be from Akkadian Asu, to go out, to rise, in reference to the sun, thus land of sunrise, used by early Greeks of what later was known as Asia Minor by Pliny of the whole continent. This is speculation, bro. And you still have to show me the black people who did this. These are not black people. Herodotus is not a black man. Pliny, this dude definitely ain't no black man. He the one who named the whole continent. He did it. That's the point of reference there.
How come nobody's coming on?
So I say that and the reason I'm speaking like this is because we always building amongst each other, and we all have our own understanding. But like, what happens when somebody asks you this? They're gonna be like, yeah, whatever. You just made that shit up, bro. Know what I mean? So like, yo, when you have a point of reference, now let's understand why they was even saying that. No matter how you want to look at it, the Nation of Islam is based off of the Abrahamic faiths. You have Musa in your lessons. You have Jacob in the lessons. You have these biblical figures in your lessons. They speak about the Bible, the Quran in your lessons. It's based in that. I mean, so even if you look at the stories, like what happened in the town of Babel, the people didn't want to speak the language or whatever. What the hell does the tribe of Shabazz story sound like to you? You know what I'm saying? Like, you just gotta put it in this context. And once you have the history, now you can explain why the people said that. And again, it was to fight white supremacy and the need to create a different identity by attaching certain history, which is true, and then embellishing some. But that's just something that we did.
So we got a question here: fire, water, air, oxygen. What about Asiatic, meaning this in a similar African word that sounds like Asiatic?
I don't know, brother. I have no idea. I don't know all them languages, bro. I'm not a linguist. Knowledge aid that Herodotus create the word. Um, until we find something else, the first person that we have a record of writing that is him. You have, and again, it was only talking about a specific part. Then you have Pliny and the other couple of dudes who add on to it. But I started out talking about Islam and Canaan and Ham and Noah because that is the root of how that gets into West Africa. And that is the root of how we get it here. Everyone who told you about you're the Asiatic black man dealt with Islam. Noble Juwali dealt with his form of Islam. No matter how you want to try to switch it and break it down, is attached to Abrahamic faith, and it goes back to that story. But do black people exist in that area before the European? Yeah. Now you got to talk about it. And are those people you? Am I answering questions or just talking? I answered your question. You said Herodotus created the word. The answer, as of right now, today, he is the first person who writ this word in the historical record. Is that an answer to the question? If you have, I told you we can make it fun. I put $100 up. You get $100 today. Show me the person that black person that writ this before Herodotus. I'll give you $100. Give it today, right now. I'll give it to you. That's my word is born. I'll give it to you. You can make it fun. The story of Noah, yeah, God. Some of most of them stories come from the Mesopotamian people in the Bible. Most people like to say come from Egypt, but most of them stories come from over there. So yeah, you're right. The Gilgamesh story, their flood, yeah. What they call that first man? Aduma. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
We said, what about the Phoenicians? Asa meant east in that language.
What's the Phoenician language? Do you know who the Phoenicians are and what that word is?
And
All right, let's keep it.
what's the other reference again
Well, for
to the
Asia,
what's the Bible that I mean not the Bible, you said the dictionary
same dictionary. Asia, I mean, etymologically, what is it?
with
Etymology online.
the language you were saying though, I can't recall.
The language
Yeah,
of whom?
where people were saying the first thing people were saying that the word Asia comes from.
Oh, it's Greek.
No,
It's
after
Greek.
the other language they were saying.
There is no other language. It said Latin and Greek.
Yeah,
It's
I
right
was
here on
under
your.
the impression that Asia was a Latin word.
Yeah, but it comes from Greek. So I'll put it back on the screen. Hold on. And then I want to put Phoenician up there so he can see. Oh no, what the hell is that? Wrong thing I opened up. My bad.
Arcadian, that's the language I'm saying.
Yeah, Akkadian. That word. Asia is not in Arcadian.
All right, now who's the Arcadians?
The Acadians are what you would call Semitic people. Those are the people who come around like around 2100 BC. Those are the ones who come after the Sumerians and Gutians. Those are those people. We have their pictures if you want to see them. I got books with they shit in there. We ain't dumb people. Definitely not dumb.
Hmm.
So they write in cuneiform, and that's supposed to be the oldest Semitic language. I mean, that's where they trace a lot of like the Hebrew and all that other stuff. They do their little reconstructions and say that that's the oldest so-called Semitic language.
All right.
That's them dudes. But let
You
me get
said
over here. So,
Phoenician is a Semitic language like Akkadian. Now, here's my question about these Semitic languages, right? And I guess this kind of goes back to what you were saying in the beginning, right? Would those Semitic people be identifying with the Hamitic people? You know what I'm saying? In other words, if the Semitic people are referring to themselves as Asiatic, would they be including the Hamitic people with that?
Hermetic people. Well, I don't know of no Acadian calling themselves Asia or Asiatic. That doesn't exist.
But I'm asking
There's a
this to the people who
oh
you know,
yeah. I don't know
because
about none of that.
because because that's one of the keys that we dealing with, right? Is that you do have displacement, right? Of I guess what they call Hamitic people by Semitic people. You know what I'm saying? All the way up into the recent times. You know what I'm saying? Like when you deal with the dams that they built in Egypt, you know what I'm saying, after World War II, they flooded out a lot of original people, that was living along the Nile. You know what I'm saying? So that when you look over there now, you don't see as many traces of black and brown seeds existing over there. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I'm asking, because this is where the rubber meets the road. You know what I'm saying? Where like even if you see a lot of if you ever watch Wesley Muhammad, that's a lot of what he's involved with is demonstrating that you have black and brown seeds existing in Asia Minor before the people that's there right now. So that's why I'm asking, in terms of just whoever else is speaking on the origin of the word coming from those Semitic languages.
Mhm. We don't have it coming from that. We have the word being a Greek word. Until we find other literature with the word on it in the Semitic language, then we can say that. But there's none. Everything that you will ever read about it, or everything that I ever read about it, or everything that I ever wrote down about it, they all going to tell you the same thing. You're not finding that there. It's all speculative. It's the same thing like with the word Africa. Like there's 7 different theories on what Africa means and where it came from. They don't know. So if you want to pick and choose, go ahead, pick and choose. I'm saying that we predate all of them names.
So
And if you want to deal that,
Lord Savior asks, is the question, where did the term Asia originate, or why do we use the term Asiatic? We didn't get to that part of it yet. That's the that's the next part. Uh, but do you have any put on where the term Asia originates from. See, ultimately, we're gonna run into this with everything because of the simple fact that we speak in English. You understand what I'm saying? So when you get stripped of your language, you also get stripped of your term that you would have used for certain ideas, whatever it is. You understand what I mean? So whatever, we say woman, right? If we, go back through just the etymology of the word woman, you know what I'm saying? If we go back just through the etymology of the term earth, if we go back just through the etymology of the term God, right? We're gonna run into European sources for all of this. You understand what I'm saying? So uh, you know, the 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 point here, you know what I'm saying, is to identify, what people are we talking about? You understand what I'm saying? Like who uh was the people who referred to themselves as Asiatic, who was the people that was referred to as Asiatic, you know what I mean? Because one thing you brought up, Robborn, and that came up actually yesterday, you know what I'm saying, where I always looked at that as having more of a reference to uh the why the devil call out people Africans. You know what I'm saying? When you started speaking on what was going on 50,000 years ago, and then you were speaking on that first migration that went through the Indian Ocean, you know what I'm saying? Of people that, they said, through the genome, whatever, that they diverged 50,000 years ago. So they actually not even related to Europeans.
Right, right,
Ultra eye, that's good looking on that uh cash out too. What's this again? Super chat. But so that's what we dealing with right now. You know what I'm
right. Now check
saying?
it
It's
out,
just
right?
it's just dealing with the term itself, Asiatic.
Right,
You know what I'm saying? What's the origin of it? And then we'll get into how we came to be referring to ourselves as that.
right. I'm sticking to the historical record, and then I'm just gonna add something else to it. What did the Egyptians call the people from Canaan? So when you look at this metaneta and the translation of it, that mean that they put English to Asiatic. There's one that's called how you say it? I might be pronouncing it wrong. It's Unu or something like it's A something. I don't know how you pronounce it. But and then there's another word, Shitu or something like that. And they called them the miserable Asiatics. So if you want to say that the black people in Kemet are those are the black people, and those are who those people were. When you look at Kamos and who he calls foreigners, they called them literally the Baal Asiatic. That's what they call them. So they don't never use the word Asiatic. It's not there. They just it's that word that encompasses all people from that area. And there's a word I don't know how you say it, but there's a word like that. And that's interesting. The Kemetic people called these people the people from this region, the miserable people.
Mhm.
And a lot of times people think that those people were just Europeans that invaded there. They wasn't Europeans. Some of them were some of them were black. All of them high schools were not Europeans. So
Mhm.
there's a multiple group of different tribes.
So Karmazami here puts Herodotus was closer to our timeline, so technically it is the earliest concrete usage of the word. But if the roots go deeper, I don't think you can discount that. I mean, that's what we're looking for right now. You have an older reference, You know, because see, especially that's why I said when especially once you get into the continental definition, right? You know, like I said, when we're dealing on our level, right? We know Asia is the whole planet. You know what I'm saying? But when, like I said, when we just discussing this from a matter of, historically, right? This in that lane, right? Uh, the concept of a continent, right, is not that old. You know what I'm saying? Like even Europe, you find sometimes when it's referred to, you know what I'm saying, but Europe is really from the 1800s. Before that, none of them really saw each other, they saw each other maybe if you was a part of the Roman Empire or you was a part of Christendom. You know what I'm saying? But France did not see themselves as a part of something with England. You know what I'm saying? The people in Western Europe did not see themselves as a part of something with the people from uh, Eastern Europe. Even to this day, it's still a struggle. You see, they just had the English left the European Union. Like there was no peace amongst them. You understand what I'm saying? So right now we got these nice, neat concepts of seven continents. You know what I'm saying? The same way, when we deal with over here, when you deal with the Indians or whatever, you know, you had alliances. You know what I mean? But in terms of there being, uh, a nationwide or a continent-wide alliance, that's just not the way politics worked at that time. You know what I'm saying? That even if you had all of these people in one empire, we really didn't maybe not necessarily like being in this empire. Like we don't like having to pay taxes to y'all and all of that. So, right now that's what we're looking for. Maybe, from your background, you might have another reference to it. You know what I mean? And not only that, but specifically speaking about the original people. See, because right now, when you say Asiatic, right, to most people, right, the image that pops in their mind is not, it's not Wesley Snipes. You know what I'm saying? Like, right now, somebody from Iran would be considered Asiatic. But have you ever seen somebody from Iran?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Right. Even the
Hello?
definition of what constitutes Asia has changed over time. Today, the academic world considers the so-called Middle East to be its own region, but back then it was considered West Asia or Asia Minor. Lord Savior said, "Our people taught mouth to ear, so it would be hard to find early references from our people. The Crusades destroyed a lot of ancient knowledge, and paper wasn't created until 25 AD."
Hey,
I
well, we
mean,
got papyrus, bro. Bugging.
you know, these things is possible, but still, which uh like oral traditions, you know what I'm saying? To me, that's valid, you know what I'm saying? But which oral traditions, uh, will we look at in that historical context?
I got something else for you. Share my screen again. Here's your 1851. Oh, 1851 in the building. Let's look. Let's blow this up so everybody can see it. Just bring some reference points, man. Just add on to the cipher, man. Hold up. I think I went too big. I think I actually lost the page now because I went too big. I went too big. Where'd it go? Ah, man. I went too big. Did I go too big on there? Where'd it go?
Yeah,
I just had
IB,
this shit in.
that is basically what we dealing with, the etymology of the word Asia, Asiatic.
I just had it
This
up
is
here. Okay, here
this
we
is what I
go.
said. Asia is a biological description. The 7.5 compared to 6 goes along this line of thought. The problem comes when you say someone called the planet the word Asia, spelled it this way, or even Asia in general. Well, yeah, that's what we uh
Oh, you can
you
see my
know,
screen, G?
all of these terms, like, even when we say Allah, you understand what I'm saying? The way this is a transliteration of the word. You understand what I'm saying? But I like this right here, what Calm Islamly, I agree with what he says right here. That I see the usage of the word Asia in the degrees as a tool to unite the seeds. You understand what I mean? So in other words, we increasing our tribe. You see what I'm saying? Like if separation is the problem, right? Then we need a concept that brings all of us together. You understand what I mean? So saying that the entire planet is Asia and that we're the Asiatic black man. You understand what I'm saying? Just like, we could say, look, I'm from Grant and you from Manhattanville, even though it's right across the street. But now if we say, yo, it's a Harlem thing, now we increase the tribe.
You can hear
You
me,
understand
G?
what I'm saying? Yeah.
Oh, see right here on the screen right now, I got this from 1861. It says Asia is one of the great divisions of the world. An extent of surface is superior to America in a proportion of 8 and 6 nearly and exceeds Europe and Africa taken together. The name Asia is very ancient, but its origin is uncertain. Homer, Herodotus, Euphrates apply it to the district of Lydia occupied by a tribe called Asanians, who possessed a city which they called Asia, and Multi Brum has observed in his precis the Greeks may have gradually extended this designation, originally given to a small district of Asia Minor, to the whole of the Asiatic continent as they became acquainted with it. It was thus that the French extended the name of Duchy of Aragon to the whole of Germany, and that the ancient canton of Attilia in the remote considerable portion. The ancients appear to have sometimes comprehended Egypt within the limits of Asia. Many conjectures have been hazarded regarding the origin of the word Asia. Some authors, among whom is the very learned Barchak, consider it to be Phoenician or Hebrew origin and to signify the like, yo, God, like, I thought that we deal with shit that's right and exact, man. Like this is the thing that be there's too much if and what, man. Why we gotta do all of that? Why we just can't show and prove exactly where we came from in West Africa, bro? Why we gotta like deal with the uncertain? It could come from this. I'm telling you, God, like, I don't know everything, but I'm telling you, I was researching this hard, really hard, to try to get I could see how I could put it. Because my objective is to show and prove 120. Oh, I wanna shoot people or do nah. That's not. I want to show and prove it. So it's the same thing when I got to one point and I thought that Tamahu mean white man. I thought that that's what that was. And then I'm reading, oh, look, it says created white man. Here's y'all cool. Then I researched the meta and this shit is bullshit. I mean, so now I'm at the point like, yo, bro, like, we don't gotta, like, I understand the concept and what it means. Yo, it's talking about, yo, you can't separate the people. We don't want to use these terms, but you are using the term. You're using the term that nobody knows the goddamn origin. And when you first see it, it's by a European. Why don't we look at the direct tribes that we came from, bro? It's like we just totally skipping goddamn West Africa was never called Asia. Ever. Never called that. And we've been there. The new science is showing 300,000 years, bro. And if you want to use archaeology, we've been there 11,000. Okay, but they traveled there. Fine. We know that. But how many years, bro? We didn't develop cultures and empires and things fell and came back, bro. Like, I don't get it, man. I don't get it, bro. I really don't. That's just my personal build on that, man. I thought that we want to be right and exact when we come in with this, bro. Every time you look this word up, you're going to come into this problem. And it's going to stop at the European.
Or do we have anyone in the room who can uh, give us a more ancient reference to that? Kendall Rowland said, I recall Farrakhan saying that if you want to know a tree, you cannot just study the fruit, you must also study the root. If we want all this bullshit to stop, everybody needs to get into oneness with the root.
I think we are with the oneness. The oneness is the black man is God, bro. I'm saying the black man is the original man on the planet Earth. How do you prove that? Again, population genetics, archaeology, and the written record. That's how you prove that. The answer to that question. I think we on time. We know who the enemy is. I think we on time. I think we had enough examples to know what we need to do to succeed in our endeavors.
Mm-hmm.
Even though this is more of a conversation just to see, like, well, what do we got? And brainstorm and look at it. A culture is something that is made up by people in a way of life. Every group of people have a culture. This is a culture that is something that we ascribe to and is real. Why is it real? Because there's real people walking around living it out right now. There's real people saying, I serve Lord and Master. Will you go to Saudi Arabia? Will you go to Kuwait? Will you go to these people and tell them that you Allah and you that? I don't think you will do that. You might not leave, bro. And if you leave this country, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So they have their culture. But this is something that was made for us specifically to deal with our unique problem. And we took that, manifested it, and took the best part and kept it moving. The ultimate truth, the black man is God, bro. Period. Ain't no devil in the sky, ain't no God, ain't no none of that. If we want to make something happen, son, we got to come together. The concept. If you want to see a law, we just come together. End the discussion. But when we dealing with the historical record and these questions come up, I always ask myself, how did Malcolm X get through all of these debates and none of this never came up? He was never asked about Yaku, never asked about how you the Asiatic man. None of that shit. I was like, yo, how the hell did he get around? Why they did it? Because he was dealing with the time. And he's dealing with specific issues and certain points, which is the best part of those lessons and what he was pointing out. And he told us all, yo, black nationalism. Yo, this is what we got to do. And he, you know what I mean? I just thought I was confused. Like, how did he get through?
Well, Malcolm, one thing, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of flack for this, but for as great of a speaker as Malcolm was, he never really answered a lot of questions.
Oh,
He
you
just
think he
revert
dodged them?
he just reversed it. Like they would ask him something like, "Well, what about this right here that Elijah Muhammad teaches?" And then he'd just say, "Yeah, well, what about slavery though?" But he would say it, of course, in a much more eloquent way that it's like, okay, now he's taking all the attention, he would say something, well, yeah, he's saying take four devil's heads, but what about all of the heads that you took in the transatlantic slave trade, and then everybody's all hype over that. But you never really answered the question.
I get what you're saying.
And if you
I
if
just
you
never
if
heard
you
him.
if you watch the best of their speakers right now, they still employ that.
Okay. Well, what about Khalid Muhammad? I
But
think he was straight up answering.
but with Khaled, he didn't really care. You know what I'm saying? Like, not to say necessarily that much that Malcolm cared, uh, but uh, you know, he wasn't saying anything for the same type of audiences. You know what I'm saying? I don't think his audiences was the same. So then kind of your base of people that that you need to be with you, you're not going to alienate them by saying certain things.
Oh.
This brother bring up a good point too, that the lessons themselves wasn't that widely known until we really got a hold of it. You said you like Tom who better? I
Tom
mean,
who?
listen, this is a whole thing, that and this is why I remember that the other day when we was talking about black and all these different things, and then this was before I saw the video that y'all made about where it was actually a poll in the newspaper where brothers was
Huh?
deciding what they wanted to call themselves. See, that's my thing.
This ain't
I'm not
this
I'm
ain't
not
new, God.
against this term. I'm not against this term or that term or whatever. I'm just saying that listen, we let us be the one to make that decision.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? In all reality, we do. We have to start over from right now to say, okay, what is our word for telephone? You know what I mean? What is our word for, battery? Whatever it is, all of these is the things that see, and this is one thing that's important about a name. Why I don't like those names, these new, John Tavius, like what does avius mean? You understand what I'm saying? Because all of these different things, the roots and how we put things together, all of that tells a story. You understand what I'm
Bro.
saying? When a person name tells a story, or look, this is where I'm from. These is who my people are. This is what we've done for thousands of years. You understand what I'm saying? So yeah, we this is what we say when we say that English is a bastard language is because it just take words in a way that what they call loan words. This word don't really have no origin or no roots in your language. You just pluck it out and put it to mean whatever it means in that language as you see it. You pronounce it the way you see it. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of the things that we deal with, like uh when you deal with the Ottomans, there's really nobody's name that was Ottoman. I can't recall exactly how you say it, but there was a dude, right? Uh, it's something like almost Finland or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And Ottoman is really English bastardization of the pronunciation of that word. So all of these different terms, we're gonna run into that. Whether we call ourselves African, if we Negro, you know what I'm saying, that means dead in Spanish. African, we really don't know. Is it African? The general's name was Africanus. Is it a slave that they brought from there whose name was Africanus? With all of these things, we're gonna run into that because right now we speak it from the Greek alphabet. You understand what I'm saying? Some of the words, the way we pronounce it in English, that letter doesn't even exist in some of those languages. You understand what I'm saying? So this is just a reality. This is not something to say that we not the Asiatic black man. You understand what I mean? In terms of when you want to look at the meaning of it, right? The way we define it. But just in terms of saying that, okay, if somebody comes up to you, right, and they ask you, all right, why you say you the Asiatic black man? You know, do you really understand that on every level? You see what I'm saying? Because just like I said, if a lot of people, and I hear people saying that God is a German word that's from the 1500s or something. I know about that. But that's not where the concept, right, of the supreme being originated. This is the term that we come to use right now. So a lot of these terms, we nitpick with them, we nitpick against them. You understand what I'm saying? But we've got to come up with something for it because the name is extremely important. You know what I mean? And so, when we look at these things, when we look at the history of these terms, when we look at, when we decide, okay, this is what we're going to say it is. You understand what I'm saying? We still got to say it from an informed point of view. You know what I mean? Just like, is Negro from the Niger River? You know what I'm saying? Is it from uh Negus, whatever? You know what I mean? Is it from Spanish, Necro? You understand what I'm saying? Whatever that is, we got to sit down and think of that ourselves. But we never going to do that, right? If we just kind of gloss over these points. To me, that's the bigger point. That look, a rose by any name is still a rose. You see what I'm saying? So you could choose, just look, the same thing with, a whole bunch of other, you know, are we this, are we that? Listen, whatever you call it, right? Just make sure you put me down. Just whatever we decide on. You understand what I mean? But I guess since nobody is able to find or knows about any references, because see, even when you say it means that in Akkadian, all right, who's the Akkadians and why should I be identifying with them? You understand what I'm saying? You know, yeah, I understand you saying that if we go back past a certain time, you know what I'm saying, that there's no colored people per se, but that don't mean that there ain't no negative people. That don't mean that I identify with all of them because look, I'm not pro-black, anti-white now. I wouldn't have been pro-black then either. You understand what I'm saying? I would examine every individual for whoever they are. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, when we look at this thing, you know what I'm saying? Uh, we gotta be for real. What's this? Man, wordsmith. You going in today? You started early too, wordsmith. You started early. But so now the floor is open. Anybody who wants to uh manifest why they call themselves Asiatic. You know what I'm saying? And hopefully you're not gonna say because that's what it says in the lesson.
That's what it says in the lessons. You trying to say the
Yeah,
lesson I ain't got? Is that
but if that's your
what you trying to say, God?
if that's your only reason, then now you're just being religious, and this has become your holy book. You understand what I'm saying? We still you gotta be able to show and prove it right now because if that's the case, you know what I mean, then you Muslim too. You understand what I'm saying? Nobody wants to take that one on. If that's the case, then your name is WF Muhammad too. Nobody wants to take that one on. If that's the case, you the SON of man. Nobody wants to take that on. We the SUN of man. So the same way we examine all of those, right, to see if it's real. You know what I mean? We not the Muslims or the Muslim saints where it says that in the who is the 5%. We examine that and say, all right, wait a minute. Let's track this down and see who's who here and who does what. So
Acadians were black. Wow.
Acadians were black.
Wow.
You said Acadians were all right. Well, I'm not. You said you don't need to go further than that. I know we say I'm not pro-black or anti-white. I don't subscribe to the other side. Well, see, look, this is my point. You know, uh, and I'm sure you're gonna tell me something about slavery affecting his mind and all that. But look, black man stabbed me. I'm not pro him. I'm not. Like there's a lot of things that happen, you know what I mean, where listen, man, I'm going to examine everybody. I'm going to examine, look, even myself. Without self-examination, I wouldn't have got to where I'm at right now. And I'm saying, that's just a reality in terms of am I for freedom, justice, and equality? See, in all reality, I'm for freedom, justice, and equality for all people. Wanting to, have other people suffer and all of that's a part of Yakub's law. Where if you're not here, we here, we got the planet right here to exploit. Rather, you a hunter, whether you a gatherer, whether you a farmer, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? But once you gotta hold other people down in order for you to prosper, I don't care what your color is. You said Akkadian is another name for Sumerian. Sumerian were original people. So you're saying that the Sumerians. Well, what are you saying?
The Sumerians are the Akkadians. See how
You said
you,
even if
you
the
see how you,
European has the oldest origin for the etymology of a term, his origin before being grafted was the origin of all, the original man. No, we just speaking, we not saying you see and this is what I'm saying, we can indirectly keep going back. You know what I'm saying? It's like if we talk about why somebody did something wrong and then you go all the way back to original sin. You know what I'm saying? So
exactly content.
Karmas Longley
Exactly.
said Sumerians was not Semitic, the Akkadians were Semitic. You said you don't break
Ex-
down pro-black to an individual. I'm speaking as a collective. Being pro-black doesn't mean I'm best friends with every black man. We got to remember the concept of white is a social idea. I'm anti that idea. I mean, yeah, I can understand what you're saying in broad terms. You know what I'm saying? But you know, those ideas have manifestations. And when you carry that concept of just being anti-white into the manifestations, you know what I mean? Then you can start going off the deep end. You know what I'm saying? Or even if you take the idea of being pro-black, so that we so pro-black that me questioning, right? Me questioning whether something a brother said or did was right or wrong, right? Becomes me being anti-black. You understand what I mean? Like I'm speaking out against a person just to examine for myself whether this is right or wrong. But what do you say to this right here, where the brother said that the Akkadians were Semitic and Sumerians were not Semitic? Knowledge a lot.
That's to me or to anybody? Or you just
Now the
reading about
brother Knowledge a lot said that the Akkadians was black. They're another name for the Sumerians. Uh,
DNA from the Sumerians show you that they dudes are marsh Arabs. The Sumerian language is an Iceland language, and the Iceland language means that he is no relation. Like the Semitic language is not related to the Sumerian language. This is what the linguistics say. The Akkadian people are not Sumerians. The names of I can look in my book now because I don't read this no more, but I can find it. We have their language so we can see what they call themselves. We can see what they call themselves. You got one word called "see gagi gigi." I remember that. You got the word that they call their language. Actually, it's called E Mara Linka or something like that. But I don't read that anymore. But yeah, man. You know, I just find it weird, man, how dudes will do anything, son, to skip where you're at or skip where you came from. That shit is crazy, bro. I don't get it, bro. That shit is weird to me, man. That shit is weird. They went all the way to Samaria, bro. There's no word Asiatic in Samaria, bro. And there is no Asiatic word in Akkadian, and nobody can prove that. So when we gonna stop saying that? I guess we still in 1985. I guess. I don't know.
the Akkadians became the Assyrians and the Babylonians. Those are Semitic peoples. That's why some scholars say the Sumerians may be related to the Dravidians.
Yeah, that that
Notice
that
that
was a
I
case
said
study.
Akkadians came after the Sumerian Empire. Akkadians and Mesopotamia are synonymous, but remember, a lot of the people from the previous empire were absorbed into the new. I mean, I understand what you're saying. Like I said, it's still uh, even that history. You know what I mean? Now, how do we tie that history in with Islam? Like, is that history related to Islam in the way that it's saying in this, you know, the way it's manifested in America? Now it says it's like Egypt. The people of Egypt are the same as the people of Ethiopia, and later migrated into the former. Yeah, but see, uh, now in what year are you talking about? Because see, like right now, the people that you see over there, they're not from Ethiopia. We have a question for Rob Bourne. What do you think of Drusilla Dungy Houston's work?
You got some stuff in there. What's that? I think it's called the Kushite Empire. I forgot the name of that. I read that a long time ago. Yeah, man, I've been through the chambers, man. I've been through the 36, bro. Been through the 36, bro. I've been
What
through the
is the
36.
oldest? What is the oldest term for continent or Earth, and is that the term you want to be referred to it as? Um, I mean that's what we looking for right now. You know what I'm saying?
Oldest term for Earth. So we, the only way to get that is writing. You know what I'm saying? So we know we already at Kamisha, and we know what the Kemetic people called the Earth. They called it Geb, and Geb is a man. So you want to say the whole planet Earth is Geb? Go for it. I mean, so like that's what that is. Sumerians had a name for land. And then how you pronounce that weird ass word, man? I'm gonna look at my dictionary. I'm gonna look at my Sumerian dictionary. But yeah, man,
Complete
what
got a
what what we
lot.
working with?
This is a good question you got right here. So what are we saying? No Asiatic, no Allah, no Islam. See, this is why I keep telling you. See, the world that I exist in, right? The year one is 1964. Like for every
That's the culture.
civilization of people, right? They mark their own year one. And so, yeah, is there certain legacies of things that happened before 1964 that led up to us using those terms? Yeah. See, I don't say my name is Allah because nothing that happened in it in Saudi Arabia at no time. The reason why I say I'm Allah is because the father of this nation's name was Allah. That's it. That's the person who showed and proved, that manifested the originally manifested the principles that we living in right now. That's the reason. Now, do that extend back when we go back and we research into, what I consider past Qurans? You understand what I'm saying? Into the NOI. You know what I'm saying? And what elements of that impacted on this. But see, even when you do the knowledge to this, what we dealing with. You understand what I mean? Remember, you know, not being pro-black and anti-white is also about that time. that the people who was pro-black and anti-white was going out and attacking the police, attacking Caucasian people, etc., etc. Now, mind you, Allah has children with him. He's got people that, some of them never even had a girlfriend before. So he wasn't sending them to go out there to do no kinds of attacks. You see what I'm saying? He wasn't teaching them to rebel against society to the point where, now you can't even move in society. You can't get a job. You can't do any of the things. And now you end up in the perfect position where they want you to be in. You understand what I'm saying? So the things that we deal with, you know what I'm saying? Like Rob Bourne said, if I go to somewhere in the East and we start talking about Islam, I'm not going to recognize what they saying, and they're not going to recognize what I'm saying. Because what I'm saying don't got nothing to do with that over there. You know what I'm saying? Our meanings that we manifest in our world, that's what it's about. Now, everything else is about the guns. Everything else is about the guns. That's what makes a difference if you're a peacekeeper, you know, if you're anti-riot police, or if you're an insurgent. You understand what I'm saying? It's all about who won the battles. That's what makes the difference between, is your language the lingua franca, or is the way you speak a dialect. It's got to deal with who won those battles. You know what I'm saying? It's got to deal with what does what does blackness mean in a particular place? Does it mean that, okay, that's the people right there, they black, all right, just on his back. This is the people that we ride to the promised land right there. Or does it mean that, all right, this person is black, roll out the red carpet? It's all about who won those battles. So, at this point in time right now, uh, we are where we are, but no, I'm not connected to none of that. Thomas Romley said, if the Akkadians and Sumerians were the same people, they would have been speaking the same language. There's no way the whole language could change in such a short span of time. Now, so you have one people that branch off into different areas and create different cultures. That doesn't make them completely new people. It's the same people with different cultures. We're talking about the early dynastic stages of Egypt. Right? We know the people there now aren't Egyptian. So, I mean, see, one thing, knowledge, and this is why I asked, you know what I mean? Because once you get into Asia Minor, you're dealing with the crucible of existence. Like, let's take, and, Rob Warren might be all over on me, or all over me on this one, right? But let's take the Hebrews. You know what I'm saying? Let's take the Jews. You know, through whatever crucible of life, right? The Hebrews went from black to white. Like this is occurring, all over Asia Minor. You know what I'm saying? The Egyptians went from black to white. Now the difference is we a little more familiar with the history, you know what I'm saying, of the Macedonian invasion. You understand what I'm saying? In the we call that guy's name? Uh Cleopatra's great grandfather, Ptolemy. We know about Ptolemy and all of that science. You know what I mean? So that's why, I personally am very cautious, in identifying people just because you see them in the same place, you know, sitting on the same throne, calling themselves Pharaoh, but they not the same people. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's just what I'm at. No, I'm not saying that you're right or wrong. You know, uh, when it comes to a lot of these ancient people, if there's no representative of them here right now, where you saying that, look, these is those same people, I haven't done enough studying into the, whole genome project to know who's where, which people is related to which people specifically. But, you know, what do you have to say about that point? Yeah, the wordsmith, man. You in that. You gotta start taking your medication, wordsmith. You know what I'm saying? But that's why I said, man, a lot of these people, and look, that also goes to the heart of the whole conversation. You know what I mean? Like I said, when you dealing with this crucible of space right here, you know what I'm saying? In terms of the Asia Minor, the Middle East, whatever you want to call it, where different people go in with one history and come out with another history. That's kind of the story of the Bible. People enter the Middle East with one history and they come out with another history. And what years was the Akkadian Empire uh active? Anyone out there? Anyone out there? Yeah, you wordsmith, you crazy, man. Oh man. Because that, if that's the history, if we can trace it back through the Acadians, let's trace it back through the Acadians. Bronze Age. And so during this time, right, that you're talking about, who who did the Akkadians, who and where did the Akkadians refer to as Asiatic? Complete put here, Akkadian is an East Semitic language gradually replaced Sumerian as a spoken language somewhere between the third and second millennia BC. We got anything on that? Like who was the people that they referred to as being Asiatic, and where were the people, or did they just refer to themselves as Asiatic? The term Asia is supposed to come from Akkadian word asu, meaning to rise. You know,
It's
uh,
like clockwork.
let's let's say that's the case, right? Let's say that's the case. You know, who were they talking about rising? What were they talking about rising? You know, and see, even if you say asu means to rise, that don't necessarily, you know, mean that they were speaking about a people or a place. You know what I'm saying? Like, you find a word like, when you look at the etymology of a word, it'll show you how this word may have started in Latin, but then it flowed through French, you know what I'm saying? And then maybe from French, it became an old English word, and from old English, it started being used in, how did this word asu, why is it, why is it synonymous with Asia? Now, Rabon never said nothing about them being original people. Thomas Lumley said they're Semitic. You never said they used it. Well, specifically, that's what we talking about. The term Asiatic, right, as a reference to black and brown seeds. That's what we looking for. So, Mr. Spock, you saying that the Acadians were referring to everything to the east when they said Asu? Because see, and my geography could be off, but if the Acadians were referring to everything to the east of them as Asia, that would not include Africa. The people of Egypt called who what? the people of Asia, I mean, the people of Egypt called the people of Acadia Asu. Oh, I see. I missed what you said here. In Egypt, around the time of the Hyksos event, those that got pushed out around Thutmose the third or 15th dynasty, if not mistaken, were referred to as Semitic Asiatics. So you saying that the Hyksos people was referred to as Asiatics? You got a good point right there. The God I be. Every place on earth is the land of the rising sun. So we saying that there's a reference to the term Asiatic in uh, Egypt, speaking to the Hyksos.
The fight is real.
But
The
see,
struggle
you
is
see this what I'm saying though. You see just how many different ideas we coming up with it for it. See, we don't have to come up with that much about the Crusades. When we talking about the Crusades, it's not this many different ideas. You know what I'm saying? See, that tells us that we haven't really searched into the core of it yet. You know what I'm saying? If reasonable people can still have all these different points of view on it. See, you oh, you tugging that. You tugging to the wordsmith. I missed that part. So in 1630 BCE is when the Hyksos was called Asiatic. Oh, modern academia calls them Asiatics. Or this is FDJ Beats says modern. But you see what I'm saying? This is what tells you that research is needed. So Lord Savior asks, why did Elijah refer to the original man as the Asiatic black man? This is okay. We've reached the second part of the question. Only one person answered so far. Mr. Spock said the sun twice a year rises in the east. I assume means the rising, thus again a biological representation of the people of the sun originally from the east of the western hemisphere, non-geographical. All right, I didn't wait. The rising, thus again a biological representation of the people of the sun originally from the east of the western hemisphere, non-geographical. I mean, and this kind of goes into what the God I be is saying. When you saying the East and the West, right? That's based on the Roman Empire. Everything east of Constantinople is the East, and everything west of Constantinople is the West. So even when we say, these different directions, we said here Asia is the whole eastern world, including Africa and Europe. The West is the wilderness, hence land of the rising sun. Yeah, but I mean, you know, here in New York, we in the Western Hemisphere, but we see the sun rising here too. And I do have one last question, right? Is like these Akkadian people, the Sumerian people, right? How are they connected to Elijah? Like I'm saying, let's take Elijah and Fuad 100% at their word for a minute. Let's say that Fuad is from Mecca, right? He comes to Detroit. He tells Elijah he's Allah, right? Are the Sumerians and the Akkadians connected to Mecca?
Sumerians predate Mecca.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it should be some lineage, like is there lineage in Mecca, like even saying of the 99 idols, right? That was in the the I know they predate Mecca, but I'm saying like out of the 99 idols that was in the Kaaba, right? According to the story, we not. I know Encyclopedia Brown is already scrolling through his books, but listen, just according to the story,
I saw the
just according to the story, right? When Muhammad goes in there to destroy the other 99 idols, are any of those idols of Sumerian gods?
I don't know. I can't remember. It might. I don't know. Not sure. I don't remember. I don't know. I don't know that one, sire. I
These
don't have
these
answer.
these is the type of things that would lead me to think that there's some Sumerian knowledge that's in Mecca, that would have been transmitted to us over here. I'm saying, you know what I mean? If the Sumerians was in fact in Mecca, Alfonso was in fact from Mecca, you know what I'm saying? So you said maybe some of them did. FDJB said yes, there were Sumerian gods. I guess that's something I guess I got something to research myself now. But is there a list of the idols that were smashed, or is it
I
just
don't think there is. I don't think there's a list for that. You'll have some of them
the
gods, and I
god
forgot one of their names is in there. One of their names is in there. I don't
the
remember.
the god Abi said they did not speak of that in the Hadith, but they did speak of a lot. But a lot is from Arabia, though, right?
That's the moon deity.
Now, Jalal said, I'm not looking at a connection between Elijah, Mecca, and the Akkadians, but if we're looking at Asu, Asia, in the way that the God is saying, then we're looking at Asia as a global concept. No. But what we saying, this is, and I understand what you're saying now, but what we saying is, how did Asiatic get in our lessons? You know what I'm saying? Meaning that in 1850, right, we don't have evidence that people in America was referring to themselves as Asiatic. You know what I'm saying? So we saying that, you know, how come, once we get to 1900, we start seeing different people referring to themselves as Asiatic. Now, these people all claim an unfalsifiable, uh, root. You know what I'm saying? In terms of how they got this knowledge that we the Asiatic black man. You know what I'm saying? Meaning, which again, you go on the new black knowledge page, they got a whole thing on there about uh Noble Drew Ali. But I'm saying, let's take Noble Drew Ali just at his word. You know what I'm saying? You know, where he's claiming to have gotten the knowledge of being Asiatic, we can't really prove that. We can't trace it. You know what I'm saying? He's saying that he got that from Egypt. So in Egypt, where's the history, right? That we're the Asiatic black man.
Man, my joint just won't
You know what
load
I'm
up,
saying?
man.
And like I
Can't do it.
said, how does it the importance of it connecting to Elijah is that, just for you to tell me that there was a term called Asia once upon a time, right? How do we know that that applies to us? Wordsmith is going into this. She says Sumerians inherited knowledge from the people of the rivers before them, who inherited knowledge from Shemsu Hor Heru. I thought, I thought, doesn't Sumeria predate Egypt?
Nah, son. That's another whole debate. Nope. I don't bear witness to that. There's some place that does though, but that ain't it. Mm-mm-mm. Mm-mm. Oh my god, my book just popped up. Yay! It
What you say?
finally
Yeah.
loaded. Alright, check it out, God. Yeah, it's showtime. I was waiting for some stuff to pop up.
Ultra I was far teaching that the black Indian man from out there is the God. Uh,
Oh,
I think you mixing up two things. There's one train of thought that far is from India. So the science that he brought here to the black man was an Indian cipher. I mean, an Indian science, but that's not to say that he was teaching us that the black Indian man is God. He was teaching us that we was God.
That's for my screen, G.
It's, it ain't come out
No,
yet.
my, hold up. Trying to, where'd it go?
As the Spock said, through the occult Masonic stuff, I keep saying was the stuff at the time, even teaching esoterically was a thing. Hmm.
All right, I'm sharing now. You can see my screen.
Yeah.
See it. So,
Dictionary of Middle Egyptian.
all right, cool. Let me go ahead. So we're gonna get rid of this Asiatic once and for all. You see the source, right? I'm gonna blow it up. Okay, what page is that on? I think it was 26. 26. Almost there. No, that was something else I was doing. No. Thought it was here. Look again. I thought I had it here. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna find it. Where's my book at? No, wrong book. Where's this book at? The hell?
I
Come
agree
on.
with that, FDJ Beats. We got to be clear on the two timelines of civilization and history. One coming from the original man, another timeline comes from the Western European academia. And see, we made that point is that now where do we find this on that timeline? Like when we say the year 15,020, right? Where do you find that on the European timeline, right? That's 1934. So that's who we saying the same thing
See,
is okay. We know in the Asiatic world what we mean, right? When we say Asiatic, but where do we find that? You understand what I mean? In the general, and look, not just in the European academia. Where do we find it? Are there griots? Like right now, if I go to Africa, right? Could I find a griot that's going to tell me a story about back in the days when we called this land Asia?
nope, you're not gonna find one.
You know what I
unless
mean?
it
In
comes
in
from
every
unless it comes from a time frame of after the 20s. You might find
right.
somebody at that. I mean,
See,
but on the
see.
screen right here in the Egyptian dictionary, see that word right here,
All right.
APR. I just I
Yeah.
just couldn't think of it. I couldn't think of it. So this term encon it encapsulates all these people that is from this area of Canaan or whatever. So the these glyphs, right? D36, Q3, G43. These are called Gardner codes, and these are on this side here. So they tell you what this is. So this is the word apar. Never was the word Asiatic or Asia ever in this word ever. They have words with A and S in it and I in it all through here because Amen is not really what a is what a I is IMN. So that's not there. So this word was used to group all of those people. So never was the word Asia ever in Kemet. Never was it in no papyrus will you ever find this word ever. you have them using that because in the text it's talking about people from those areas. They don't know the tribes of those people, so they just called them niggas Asiatic people. That's what the European did, and that's how they translated this word here. That is not Asia. Doesn't mean that. They just put it for that region. Now, let's move on to your Asu. Let's go there. We're gonna go there real quick, and we're gonna get this over with. Where'd it go? I think I gotta share my entire screen because I'm using a different computer, and I'm gonna have to go back into this. Or is it here? Or is it here? Where the hell did it go? Come on, man. Give me my joint. So I have to send this stuff to myself from my joint, yo. So where is it? Here, here, here. Can I blow this up? Here, here. This is the Akkadian dictionary. Feel free to go do this yourself. Asu, right here. We're going to look at all the words in Asu. All right. So you have this word, asin tu, right, to act, etc. This word here. See this? A-S-S-U, asu-I, right? Asuri, undesirable, eventually, hopefully not. Asu. See here? For incense, saman, oil, or myrtle. Asu, physician, right? Also, azu. So this word here, azu, means human. So of humans, animals for eyes, right? And may expert some asu, wooden part of the loom. And then you do have this, I will have to find it, but you'll have the asu, that's the noun that or adjective that deals with to go out or come forth. Nowhere ever will you see the word Asiatic in this at all. It don't exist. This is their guess. This is a guess. And it's dealing with the sun. So you really want to know, they say, oh, well, it means to come out, come forth, so they mean the sun. Sorry. So you have your word Egypt, APR. I just couldn't think of it off my head because I don't read this stuff no more. I'm not concerned with this. These are not my people. I'm concerned with where I came from and who those people are. I'm into the knowledge of self. I'm not concerned with these weirdos. These people is weird to me. They do some weird shit. These Assyrians are weird. Them niggas is weird. So those ain't my people.
So the God I be said I'm confused. So does anyone have any other source that we could refer to right now that
We just gotta get, oh man, not to cut your wisdom, to get down to you made the point very clear. What is a culture? A culture is something that is made by people and the people agree on said terms and choose to live their life after that. The culture is what the Father gave to us. He gave us the culture. So what do we mean when we say that? That's the answer. And all of us may come from a different perspective, but that's the answer in the culture that we choose to abide by. Islam does not mean I serve Lord and Master. We all know that it don't mean that. We know it's Arabic, but this was given to us for a specific duty and purpose. And when you get that down, this is how you explain it to somebody. Because if you ask anybody, okay, so what is the Egyptian culture and who made that? Did it come out the sky? Did the Nether reveal it to them? Oh, wait a minute. What are you, your robot? Did the diviners come and give it to you? No, the people made it up. And they made it up based off of the things that they needed to sustain themselves and survive at that time. At some point, when we having a historical conversation about it, this is a question that you got to ask yourself. That's why nobody ain't pressed the link. because you never asked yourself this question. I'm not throwing shots, but a lot of people never ask themselves this question. Some people don't like to speak, so that's not directed at all the people in the chat. But yo, most people never ask themselves this question. Most people never ask themselves a lot about them things and no lessons and no questions. They just say it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
but the God hit it on the point. He hit it on the point. Like, yo, this is our culture. Year one is this. Next, now why did the people move? Why did the people say it? And you brought the you posted the Lehman brother, you posted him, and then you got Noble, you got all these other individuals that's calling themselves Egyptian adepts and magicians and professors and doctors, all before Farah Muhammad and Noble Jew Ali. All this, it's a mixture of a culture and shit that we did, yo. And it is what it is. And it
Mm-hmm.
seems like the Asiatic black man theme is still here since 1920. Since the 20s. We here. So that's really it. I don't think there's no other way to look at it. That's just my opinion on it.
Yeah, I'm glad you put that point on it. You know what I mean? So that tomorrow, everybody's not saying that Rabon came on and disagreed with everything.
Yeah.
Tomorrow, listen. So that everybody goes out, you know what I mean, just to put a point on it. You understand what I'm saying? Rabon said, man, we the Asiatic black man because we say we are. If you don't like it, tough titty.
Yo, you real slick too, God. I see you been around for a while. You just be doing the knowledge. Like, yeah, God. Been saying this right now? Yo, what you? Oh man, I don't even know. Should I mute him? Should I get him out of here? Like, I don't want to have to answer for this shit. Yeah, you real smart, God. I see you. I see you, God. You being quiet. You like, yeah. Any questions in the chat?
Listen, man. Yeah. But see, look, this is what I always tell people too. When you look at these lessons, when you look at these books, when you look at these stories, right? You gotta look at there's certain parts where it's like, okay, that couldn't really happen. You know what I'm saying? Like there's got to be something else that they try to tell us. Like you look through the story and you see what you can verify. And you're like, okay, this part's right here I can't verify, right? There must be a lesson in there. Like for instance, if you're reading a story and animals is talking, all right, I know these animals don't really be talking. You know what I mean? So what is characteristic of this animal? Why he, you know what I'm saying? So for instance, the owl might tell you something. If the owl tell you something, because it's the characteristic, the eye, why the owl is supposed to be wise because the eyes are big, he can see in the dark, and he can turn all the way and see behind him and all that. He can see everything. You know what I'm saying? So you know, okay, that animal is saying something. He's telling you the right thing. You know what I'm saying? The fox is telling you something. All right, don't listen to the fox. He's setting you up. You understand what I'm saying? This is what you gotta figure out about the story. Now, what he might be telling you about the pond or whatever, these different things. Okay, yeah, ponds is real. Ponds is real. But you know, like the story, what's that story where the alligator tell the monkey, I give you a ride across the alligator tell the monkey, I give you a ride across the pond on my back. You know what I'm saying? And then when the monkey finally trusts him, the alligator eat him. You see what I mean? We know that the monkey and the alligator didn't really have no conversation like that. You see what I'm saying? But this is where we get caught up at, I think, too, man. You know what I mean? Especially when you get into this ancient science, right? Where we don't look at those stories like that. You see what I'm saying? And we start to act like, those parts that's really just there to illustrate a lesson to you is real. And then we try to live it out. You understand what I'm saying? Or we try to defend it. You know what I'm saying? Oh, nah, it's real because this, that, and the other time and in this time the air was thinner, so you could do. Nah, you know what I'm saying? You gotta learn to draw these things up. You see what I'm saying? So you know that's all throughout the lessons. That's all throughout that's all throughout life. You know what I'm saying? You know, uh, when you get on the train, you know what I'm saying, and you see the sign right there say, if you see something, say something. They don't mean for you to say the word something. You understand what I mean? If you take that too literally, you know, you see anything and you say something, you know, something, the word something. That's not what it means. You understand what I'm saying? It's not just when you reading one of these books that you gotta be able to see beyond the face value. You know what I'm saying? But this has just been a lesson, you know what I mean? To where, like I told you, everything that's in the degrees, every lesson, every word, every phrase, all of that, the way it's used, you know what I'm saying? The context of time to where you saying, okay, how was the language used in 1930 though? You understand what I mean? As opposed to how we use it right now. You know what I'm saying? Like there's words that meant something totally different in 1930 than it means right now. You see what I'm saying? All these is the different contexts that we have to go back into to where we really saying, okay, you know what you're dealing with, or we know what we're dealing with, we know what it is. You know what I mean? Because look, we see these kinds of things when they can't be shown and proven, right? And we look at it too religiously, right? That's why you got all these different sects of Christianity and Islam. You know what I'm saying? Because of, one concept or one word. You know, these people over here say, look, it's only one God, man. You know what I mean? These people over here say, well, nah, it's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. You know, these people over here say, look, man, the preacher can't be having no wife. These people over here say, nah, nah, nah. The preacher is the first one that got to be. Things ain't right, man, if the preacher ain't in on it. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, pay attention, man. Pay attention because these same type of details, right, is in what we dealing with right now in life. You understand what I mean? Like, can you prove that it's safe to take that shot? You understand what I'm saying? You know, do you know what's in there? Because see, it can have 99 ingredients, and 98 of them can be right, and the 99th one be arsenic. You see what I'm saying? So don't take it for granted, man. Don't take it for granted. You know what I'm saying? And don't believe in my brother Elijah Muhammad. And when I say that, I don't mean that what I'm saying when I say my brother Elijah Muhammad, because I love Elijah. But see, don't believe in Elijah. Study what Elijah said, right? Internalize the best part. But don't just go through life saying Elijah Muhammad said. That's the meaning of the self-styled wisdom. Is that you drew it up and you said it. Who told you that? I told me that. Don't ask me who told me to say nothing.
Yo, that shit crazy. This is dope though. This is a dope bill. I wish we had other guys come build, man. Maybe I can't be on here, man. And I'll let you run the show, bro. I can't be on here when you on here, dog. I can't be
Yeah,
on here.
yeah, nah, you can't believe in these people. You understand what I mean? You know, and see, and I'm gonna tell you what this gonna help you with. It's going to help you with people saying things. You understand what I'm saying? Like, right now somebody come and tell me something about Elijah. Somebody come and say, yo, man, it's nigga
Up with
Elijah
the
just
mother
happened.
plane coming back.
Yeah,
What's up with
yeah,
the
yeah,
mother
yeah.
plane coming
Well,
back? Yeah,
well, yeah,
oxygen,
yeah,
God.
yeah,
Show prove
nah,
God. Don't you
nah, yeah,
God?
that's a you know what I'm saying? That's who we listen. We've approached the edge then, you know. But I'm saying somebody could come and say, look, man, Elijah stole 50 cents from me in 1901. You know, uh, listen, if he did that, right, whatever is the penalties and rewards for his actions, Elijah's the one who's got to pay for that, not me. You understand what I mean? But in terms of you telling me that, it's not going to change how I see the NOI because I never saw Elijah as a holy person. You see what I mean? That's a concept that we bring with us from Christianity that Jesus never sinned and Mary never sinned and Elijah and John the Baptist and all these people. That's a concept that we bring from over there. You know what I'm saying? And the concept,
Yeah,
look, I'm gonna
G,
tell you another part.
I
Good.
gotta spin off. I gotta spin over here. I
All right,
know
no
you
doubt.
wanted to get into that. I know you wanted to get into that second part of this joint, but
Yeah,
yeah, we could
we
do it.
get it. We do that. Throughout the week.
Peace to the gods and the earths and the chat and whoever's watching. I hope you learned something or learned a different way on how to deal with an individual who would say what I just said and what I just showed you and caused you to actually do the knowledge for yourself instead of just saying the same thing that you heard from 1985. I mean,
They asked me, what's this
just
lady's name again? The Bernstein lady,
Sharif.
Sharif Bernstein, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Sharif Bernstein Muhammad. Um, the next time we build, I think we could hit. I'm gonna have something prepared, so I don't gotta just grab a book and just look at it. Um, let's do that second part of why would they use that, and let's do who wrote the Bible or Quran if you want to do that.
All right, but
We can add on to that. You know, yeah, man. I want some of y'all to come in the chat, man, so we could. This is how we sharpen our swords, bro. Like this is what we supposed to. I mean, our duty is to teach the youth, of course, but this is how we sharpen our swords,
mm-hmm.
right here.
All right, G.
All right, peace.
Peace. So now look, some of you put it right here, Christian Bell. All of these messengers sin, however, due to their great works, all is forgiven. See, that's another part. That's another part of that. That's another part of that. Uh, you know, looking at things from a religious point of view. Because see, if you notice, that's the other group of people in the Bible. Now, you got one group of people that never sin, and they always getting their ass kicked. You know what I'm saying? Then you got another group of people that don't do nothing but sin. But because of this religious idea that they connected to these promised people. Like you got people like David. David is the biggest heathen that can be described. Is there a law? Is there a Ten Commandment that David doesn't break? I mean, there's got to be one or two, but he took out most of them. But because you have this religious mindset, like Christian Bell is saying right here, all is forgiven. Exactly. Receive the message. You understand what I'm saying? But at any rate, this was a good live. We didn't get into the title. I think I got it. I'm gonna just change the title. Should I just change it? Uh, yeah, let me change it to this. You know what I'm saying? For everybody, do the each one, teach one, of course. Hit the like button. Subscribe if you're new. Share this on your other pages, of course. People probably really like this one. I'm sure it'll be controversial. We'll probably have to revisit this one and clear things up. You know, maybe I'll have to change it elsewhere. God, I be said, as long as you say such and such said, they let you live. But when you say I say or I am, they kill you. Oh yeah, we took it out. We'll get back into the title. You know, the title wasn't really. I don't think the. I mean, it was. You know, I would have made it good, but this one was good. Right, Mrs. Spock said it's what really counts is if your good works far outweigh your bad. If you just some religious holy guy, you don't get a pass. You know what I mean? And that's what happens, man. A lot of times, because we have these, uh, religious, and we rightfully grateful. You know what I'm saying to the brothers like Noble Drew Ali and Elijah Muhammad. Whoever else it is, we're rightfully grateful to those people. You understand what I'm saying? These things is we should never condemn, the people, especially the people who came before us, because now you're betraying the science of knowledge being infinite. Of course we've advanced. That's why sometimes don't outweigh, who we are right now. Like just because some people existed in ancient times, that don't mean they were smarter than us. That don't mean they had more knowledge about every particular topic than us. Is there knowledge that we lost? Indeed. Is there knowledge that we gained? Indeed. But in the meantime, in between time, we're gonna wind this one down. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be back on tomorrow. Uh, I don't know what happened here. Let me see if I can change the title over here. Let me see if this works. Worked a tad bit, I guess. Uh, so we got any last questions? I mean, in a way, it was going to be related to today. You know what I'm saying? Uh, you know, when you say the founder of what? You know, what did you found? What are you the foundation of? You understand what I'm saying? Like in your family, you know what I'm saying? You know, uh, you know, when you came around with the knowledge, what was that the foundation of? And when the family goes, like, yeah, we all got a new dietary law now. We don't eat this. Why you don't eat this? Oh yeah, this person right here was the founder. You know what I mean? Of us dealing with dietary law the way we do. Or you the founder of death, hell, and destruction. You see, when you look in there, you see the founders of a whole lot of things. New Black Knowledge just went live. Yeah, I'll probably go check them out. You know what I'm saying? To just, always pay attention to that VCR. That was the point that I was going to make. You know what I'm saying? And also the realization that that's the time that we in now. And a lot of things we be saying, yo, how come this? How come that's not? How come this is not? That's because we supposed to be the founders. That we in that time where, you know, it's almost like, see, when 1900 came, right? Like in 1900, almost anything you did, you was the first black person to do that. Almost anything you did, like you became a lawyer, he's first black lawyer over here. You know, play basketball. Oh yeah, he's the first professional basketball player from over here. You know, yeah, he's the first one came around here selling that cocaine. But in 1900, almost everything you did. But see now, in terms of the things that we talking about, in terms of actually bringing about freedom, justice, and equality, you know, even if you just talking about for your day and time, no, you're not gonna be the first activist. You're not gonna be the first freedom fighter. You know, but in your time, what I'm saying, in your place where you go to, some square miles where the picture may not be as clear. Or see VCR, you sent me the family tree thing where you see the people who was the founders, right, of, you know, the knowledge being manifested out there in St. Louis, right? Now, what does that mean? Especially from the outside to the babies that's looking at y'all. Does that mean that, yo, ever since that happened, yo, things start going good in this way? Or does it mean that, yo, ever since that happened, can't even walk down these streets, man? Can't take your head off. You could be the father of civilization, but what kind of civilization? So understand what you build, because if you don't, it will destroy you. But like I said, everyone do the each one teach one. You know what I'm saying? Uh, hit the like button, share, subscribe, hit the notification button. Make sure you're sharing this on your Twitter, on your Facebook, the Facebook groups, the text messages, etc., etc. You know what I'm saying? And I will see y'all tomorrow. We probably, what I'm saying, if Raborn comes back on, we can hit up the topic, complete this topic about why we use the term Asiatic. You know what I'm saying? And you know, basically, looking at our history in a straight line. You know what I'm saying? Swimming at 9,000 miles back. You understand what I mean? Part of that is about regaining all of the things that we lost, you know what I'm saying, in the midst of coming over here. So we'll be dealing with that. And in the meantime, in between time, I'm going to say peace.